The following program is a SUTV student production. The views expressed are not necessarily those of Salisbury University, the University System of Maryland, its regents, administration, officers, employees, or representatives.
Such as Vice President of Student Affairs, Dr. Dane.
At 7:30 in the morning beside the Wayne Street Park.
Change some of our habits around the campus. Members of SU faculty and staff. Good evening and welcome to this special Thursday broadcast of SUTV Evening News. On Monday night, the Donald Trump campaign announced that the candidate currently leading the delegate count in the Republican primary would be visiting the Eastern Shore. SUTV News traveled to Stephen Decatur High School in Berlin on Wednesday to cover Trump's campaign rally. A line began to form in the early afternoon, but by 4 o'clock, still 3 hours before the arrival of Donald Trump, the line stretched from Decatur's doors beyond what the eye could see, as thousands waited in anticipation to hear from Trump, including students from SU.
I really do believe what he says. I believe that he really, truly loves this country, and I think this country really does need an outsider to sort of bring perspective to Washington. We're tired of the status quo, you know?
Just to see what he's all about, you know, without like the media, like everyone claims, you know, just to get a first-hand view about everything that he says.
I guess just diversity of views. Not everyone here I know agrees with Donald Trump. I know a lot of people in my club don't agree with Donald Trump, but it's good to just hear the diversity within the Republican Party as well.
Rally attendees were at the event for a number of reasons. We spoke to some of them after Trump concluded the event.
I believe that Trump is an intelligent person and that he's intelligent enough to surround himself with all the people who know all the specifics of policy, and that he could go through all that information and decide and make the best decisions for our country. He wants to make our country great again, and I believe in that.
This is Eastern Shore, Maryland. I could be standing in Chicken Man right now with most of these people. If we weren't wearing shirts, we'd be good friends, you know. But standing out here now and seeing all the hate chanting and the anger that people express, I really hope we can use this as an opportunity to see each other as people with actual views and actual legitimate reasons for why we believe the things that we believe. I hope we can grow from it.
I feel like sometimes Trump isn't about substance, he's more about fluff. So I would have liked to have heard a little bit more about policy, but I think what I really proved to myself tonight was if he is our candidate, I know I can vote for him, is what I really proved.
Well, I hadn't decided. I still haven't decided. It's between Cruz and Trump for me. And I think if he is our president, I just wanted to know that I could feel good about it. So I wanted to see him in person instead of small clips on the TV.
Thank you very much.
And while the rally was mostly calm on the inside, there were a number of protesters before, during, and after the event. There was also a fight that broke out following Trump's departure between supporters and protesters that led to multiple arrests. And Governor Larry Hogan is touring the Eastern Shore of Maryland this week, and today we caught up with the governor at a ribbon-cutting ceremony at the Arthur W. Purdue Stadium. We spoke to him about this past session, priorities moving forward, and tried to squeeze a presidential endorsement out of him.
Yeah, I'm most proud of the fact that we got our budget through with nearly unanimous support in both houses and on both sides of the aisle, and we did it about 2.5 weeks early, which is something I'm not sure has ever happened in the state. Our budget is our most important thing that I do as governor, and we had tremendous success with that. We had some great successes with justice reinvestment and a couple of other bills that I thought were important on drunk driving and a few other things. But the frustrations were really, there was 3 things. One was that we didn't get across the board tax relief that I thought was important. We came very, very close, but the House and the Senate could not agree. Passed the Senate, but not the House. And also our jobs bill, which was to try to create thousands of jobs on the Eastern Shore, Western Maryland, and in Baltimore City, the areas where we have the highest unemployment. And we couldn't get that passed this year. We're going to come back and do it again next year because I think it's so important. Lastly, we're the most gerrymandered state in the country, and I pushed for nonpartisan redistricting of our redrawing of our districts, and it didn't even come up for a vote, even though almost everyone in Maryland, all over the spectrum, is in favor of it. So those are the three things we're happy with and three things we're frustrated with. But it was overall a very good session. We reached across the aisle and tried to work in a bipartisan, common sense way to get things done for the people of Maryland.
Governor Hogan, we heard mention of Donald Trump coming to the area yesterday. When can we expect to hear an endorsement from you in this race?
Well, you won't, because I promised that I wasn't going to be involved, that I wasn't going to endorse anybody, and I'm really focused on what's going on here in Maryland, and I'm going to stick to my word to not interfere with that race, let people vote their conscience.
Finally, in this blue state, why are you a Republican so popular?
Well, I think people are happy with the direction the state is heading, and they're happy with some of the work that we've been able to get done. So while it's nice to be popular, it's really more important that people are pleased that the state is heading in the right direction.
Top priority moving forward?
It's jobs and tax relief are the two things we're focused on, continuing to get our economy growing.
All right. Thank you. And last week there was an attempted robbery at the Shore Bank on Route 13. This was the second incident that happened at this bank in recent weeks. The difference being that this individual ran onto UP while fleeing the bank, prompting an emergency alert to the entire campus community. We spoke to the university police about the incident and the emergency alert system.
What would cause us to activate that is any imminent threat in, like, on SU property or an immediate area, off-campus housing areas, any immediate area to the campus or those areas that would pose a threat to students. The emergency alert went out because the first information that we had received was that it was an armed robbery. Okay. Once the information was gained that it was just a note passed, then that's when the all clear got sent. Okay, well, we respond to the area and assist the local agencies that are obviously the lead on the investigation. The alerts, that's kind of letting people know, have a heightened sense of awareness, and take the steps that they need to take to, try to help protect themselves.
Last week, SU's SGA held executive board elections. We caught up with Savannah Albright, who will be next year's executive vice president, a position that will have her working directly with RSOs and RSO leaders.
I'm really excited to fix the image that SGA has, to make everything better. And so I think that the students and the RSO leaders should be more excited, because I'm really excited to be working with them, to be making things easier for them. So if they are more willing to hold events, because the relationship between SGA and RSO is better, than the average student will have more opportunities to attend events and do fun things on campus. And then next Wednesday we have our forum, and we're voting on constitutional changes to change the recognition processes for RSOs and to change the system for how RSOs stay recognized once they are recognized, what the students want implemented on campus. And so I'm really trying to focus on moving back towards that. And so instead of telling RSOs you need to come to 2 forums and you need to come to 2 recognized events, I really want to focus on, okay, if you come to these events and you go above and beyond, we're going to reward you for that.
The problem of heroin and opioid use has been a major national issue in recent years, and Wacomico County has not been immune. We sat down with Wacomico County Sheriff Mike Lewis to discuss the important issue and what he's doing to address it.
Well, priority right now here in Wacomico County is fighting this heroin epidemic that has absolutely decimated our community. Well, let me tell you this, we have worked very closely with our law enforcement partners here in Wacomico County, and that includes the Salisbury University Police Department. What we have here in Wacomico County is pretty unique. In fact, it's the only place on the entire Eastern Shore where we have a HIDA designation here in Wacomico County. And HIDA is an acronym for High Intensity Drug Trafficking Area. In order to be HIDA designated, you must be able to have documentation to provide to the White House Office of National Drug Control Policy that we have a high instance of drug trafficking cases here in Wacomico County. I'm sorry to say we met that threshold. We Americans make up about 7% of the world's total population. The Mexican cartels know that 68% of the world's total drugs are consumed here in the United States every year. So we Americans have an insatiable appetite for narcotics, and where there's a demand, there will always be a supply. We learned years ago that we'll never arrest ourselves out of this problem. We know we can't do that.
And by now, you've certainly heard of the more than 300 dogs found in a Wacomico County home 2 weeks ago, in which Wacomico County officials found terrible conditions and many of the animals in bad shape. While the Humane Society is receiving constant donations, there is still more work to be done by volunteers and the county. For more on the situation and how you can help, we spoke with Wacomico County State's Attorney Matt Massarello.
Aaron Basamo was the new director that came on about a couple weeks ago at the Humane Society. He, of course, received some complaints. There was an investigation, and so law enforcement, the sheriff's office, accompanied Animal Control and Humane Society over to this residence. And of course, what was expected to be scores of dogs turned into 310, with many pregnant. So it'll probably be, my estimate, about around 330 when it's all said and done. What we immediately did was form basically like a subgroup of law enforcement, animal control. We brought an expert in from Baltimore County, one of the top prosecutors in the state of Maryland on animal and neglect issues. Also, the county executive's office for sort of the management, the logistical management of what do you do with 310 dogs. So, and we all agreed that the health of the dog comes first. They need help. They need help with dog walkers. They need foster parents for these dogs, because these dogs have never been socialized before. So they can actually contact the Humane Society, and they will definitely put them to work, not only for the dogs, but you know, the Humane Society, we have 100,000 people here. A lot of folks have pets, and a lot of those pets unfortunately end up in Humane Society. So the normal work that was going on, that couldn't stop either. So again, I encourage anybody, especially SU students, I'm an SU grad, you know, participate in your community, participate in calling the Humane Society and see how you can pitch in. It's good for the animals, it's good for your soul. So.
And for more information on how you can help with that situation, you're encouraged to visit the Humane Society's website. This weekend, SU will be hosting Relay for Life for the 15th year, and students are reminded that because of Relay, Safe Ride will not be operating on Friday night as usual. And as we approach May, there are inevitably graduating seniors who are stressing looking for employment as they leave college. Tonight, Lee Matthews has a story on career services and the Volunteer Center, whose staffs would like to see students come in the office before they're about to graduate.
Career services. If you're a Salisbury student, that name should ring a bell. But how about volunteer services? Tucked into an office in career services, Samantha Beck is the person you would want to talk to if you ever have the itch to volunteer.
We find different volunteer opportunities and offer them up to the students, and what we're trying to do is grow from that, and instead of just taking volunteer opportunities that are given to us, we're trying to expand and create the volunteer opportunities for the students.
Kevin Fallon is the director of career services, and while overseeing all that career services is responsible for, he also works with Samantha as well.
Volunteerism is a great way to establish a career. Let's say, for example, if you're a student and you're interested in something related to either nursing or social work, and you do something as a volunteer at PRMC, that gives you an instant ability to create a network of people within that organization who you can then go to and say, I'd like to intern here, can you help me? So you're already kind of on the inside and you have a network. So volunteerism is often the best way for a college student to begin to establish their professional network and then cultivate internships.
We want to give back to the community. We don't want Salisbury University to be isolated from Salisbury, the city. So what we're trying to do is work with the city officials and bridge that gap between the two, so that the people that live in Salisbury don't think that we're just a bunch of goons. They see us giving back in other ways as well.
Whether it be giving back to the community or to make your resume stand above the rest, Career and Volunteer Services has you covered. This is Lee Matthews reporting for SUTV Evening News.
Thank you, Lee. And again, that goon-free office is located on the first floor of GUC. We constantly report on the school's relationship with the surrounding community, and one of the big things that the university does to maintain and improve that relationship is Big Event. Over the weekend, RSOs and hundreds of students went around town to help neighbors clean up around their homes and their property.
I want to thank you, and also our mayor, Jake. The Big Event, and this is the 12th year for the Big Event, is a particularly exciting opportunity to build relations with the city of Salisbury and other surrounding communities. This year, over 600 students signed up online, and there are over 100 projects out in the community. So it's become a tradition, and it's become something that's cool to do.
Big event kind of is the perfect portrayal of how Salisbury University really does care about the community and how we want to give back.
I think it's a tremendous event, and I think that the community is so happy to see the students out and about, and today we have a beautiful day, and when the students come and show their appreciation for their environment where they're living, and it's also a great opportunity for us to get to know some of them and talk to them and find out where they're from, and also to welcome them to the community and hope that they feel a part of it as well.
And that does it for us on this week's edition of SUTV Evening News. Make sure to stay tuned in for Sports Night at the top of the hour. I'm Eli Modlin. Thank you for joining us, and good night.